The GNOME desktop is the first free desktop. It was created in about 10 years ago, and it's been evolving. We're just about ready to release GNOME 3.0 this year. We're very excited about that. I have a few questions for people. If you could give a show of hands, that would be great. I'm wondering how many people here have experience with GNOME. How many of you are GNOME users? Woohoo! There's lots of you out there. I'm glad to see that. How many of you? How many of you are GNOME contributors? How many of you do development work or help in various ways in the GNOME project?
Just later, okay? Just later.
Yeah, many of the usual suspects. Glad to see that. Okay. How many people here are students? Not too many students. That's interesting. Okay. Well, the GNOME Foundation is an organization that supports the GNOME community. The GNOME community provides the GNOME desktop, and the GNOME Foundation supports. We have a mission of creating a free desktop that's accessible to everyone, regardless of their ability to pay, physical ability, or the language that they speak. And that's an important thing. It's important to be able to provide technology to people across the world without creating barriers. We promote the GNOME Free Desktop. The GNOME Foundation manages those financial, marketing, and legal needs of the GNOME community, and we help to set the direction of the GNOME project. The GNOME Foundation is made up of about 400 people, and those people are mainly volunteers, and any qualified GNOME contributor can become a GNOME Foundation member. It's just necessary to apply for membership, and your credentials are reviewed, and you can become a part of the community. People are important to GNOME. People are the volunteers who participate in the GNOME community are those people who make everything happen, including this event. The GNOME Foundation is a Section 503c charity in California in the United States, and in order to be a charity, there are certain regulations you have to follow. There's certain tax requirements, there's certain legal processes, and the GNOME Foundation takes care of managing all of those aspects. And the benefit of being a charity is that the income that we receive is all tax-free. Part of the structure that's required by law is that the GNOME Foundation must have a board of directors, so that there's 7 people, including myself. I'm the secretary of the board of directors, who make decisions and help things to move along. And there's an advisory board that's made up of different companies that work with the GNOME project. And the members of the advisory board are appointed, and they help to provide direction to the GNOME community. And the GNOME Foundation has a small staff of 2 people. One of them is Stormy Peters, our CEO. 2 years ago, when the GNOME.Asia conference was in Beijing, both Stormy and I came to speak. It's nice to see many of you again. It's nice to see that the Asian community is growing. Last year I wasn't able to come, but Stormy came, and this year Stormy wasn't able to come, and I'm here. So I think it's important for people from the board of directors to come to events like this and help people to understand what the GNOME community is all about. And Emily Chen, who has been organizing, doing much of the work organizing the GNOME.Asia event, along with the rest of the GNOME.Asia volunteer community. She just was elected to the board of directors, so woohoo! Our advisory board is made up of a lot of organizations. Many of them are organizations that use GNOME technologies. And through working with these partners, we get direction and resolve issues and conflicts that arise. So what is it that the GNOME Foundation Board of Directors does? One of the main things that we do is we do event planning, including this event and Hackfest that we have throughout the year in order to focus on different development aspects of the desktop. The GNOME community tends to be largely informal. When we get together for a lot of our events, we end up sitting in rooms and hacking together. And it's a very vibrant and fun community to be involved with. The GNOME Foundation right now is working on several programs, including a women's outreach program and an accessibility outreach program, so that women with an interest in getting involved with the GNOME project can apply for grants in order to receive an amount of money for participating in doing development work. And the purpose of the Women's Outreach Program is to encourage more women to be involved with free software, and specifically the GNOME project. And the Accessibility Outreach Program is similarly very important. It's a very strong part of our goal in the GNOME community to make sure that the GNOME desktop is accessible to people who have disabilities, people who are blind, people who have motor impairments, and the Accessibility Project is one of the ways that we focus our attention on providing the tools that they need. The GNOME Foundation promotes ideas and projects, and we facilitate with issues that within the community, between the advisory board and the development community and the volunteers. The GNOME Foundation produces regular communications. We have an annual report that we produce every year to keep people in the community aware of what we're doing. If you have an interest in the GNOME community, I'd recommend that you take a look at it. We deal with financial management and we do fundraising. We do marketing and press management and a lot of administration. So it sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? In the past year, we've been working to serve the community. We're currently focused on planning for the Berlin Desktop Summit in 2011. Once again, the GNOME and the KDE communities are gathering together, just like we did last year in Gran Canaria. And we're going to be focusing on more cross-platform aspects of the desktop. Things like GStreamer and dbus and other technologies that are shared across desktops like KDE and GNOME and XFCE. We have a new advisory board member, Limo, in the mobile space. Stormy did a lot of great work working with Limo to get them on board. In the last year, we had a record number of Hackfests. We had over 10 Hackfests in the past year, more Hackfests than we've had in any previous year. I think one reason for that is because GNOME 3.0 is coming out soon, and naturally we've needed to do a lot of organization and working together and planning to try to make that release as successful as we can. We've done a lot of work improving our fundraising. We've done a lot of work with our merchandise. We've been working on our Friends of GNOME program. We've been doing a lot of work marketing it and promoting it. And we've increased revenue from the Friends of GNOME program by 200%, I believe.
Do you have an idea of the ratio between sponsorship, Friend of Gnomes, and the store? Percentage?
The GNOME Foundation, I have a slide for that later. I'm getting to that. we've one of our focuses that we've been focusing on lately, much more strongly, is focusing on promoting GNOME in the developing world. We just recently set up the developing world list at GNOME.org for people with an interest in promoting GNOME technologies in the developing world. We just had a GNOME presence at the Idlelo conference in Ghana, and we're working more to increase our presence in those parts of the world where free software has a much stronger chance of increasing market share. The GNOME Foundation has been working a lot with the different sub-teams within the GNOME community, such as marketing and the accessibility teams. And those teams have become a lot more productive over the past year as a result of that effort. And we're currently working to hire a system administrator. So these are the sorts of things that have been keeping us busy.